Hi, ladies. Welcome to another episode of the First Generation Millionaires podcast. I am your host, Rebecca Barr, aka the Femalepreneur Coach. Now, I have a funny context to today's episode. Essentially, I recorded the most fire, the most channeled, the most divinely inspired podcast episode for you yesterday. And when I came back to just take the sound bites and review the transcript, there was no sound. How is that even possible? I used the microphone, everything was checked. 30 minutes of absolute fire, and it was complete silence. So I've tried to re-record today's episode, but I have to admit, it's unlikely I'm going to be able to get the same information, but I do believe that what needs to come forward will. So it was probably either something was retrograding. I believe energy is everything in business. And equally, maybe it was just the universe saying, be more succinct. So what I wanted to talk to you about yesterday was the fact that I had actually finished the speaker lineup, and I've just sadly had somebody pull out today, which is a shame because it's left a bit of a gap in my customer journey. But based on the conversations that I've had already, I was 99.9% there yesterday with the speaker lineup. And what is coming forwards is going to be truly exciting and something truly uniquely different because it has been created. So if you're not familiar with me, obviously, I am a business alchemist, wealth activator, best-selling author, all of the things. And one of my new business ventures is the Wealthy Woman events and retreat business, which our signature flagship annual event is the Wealthy Woman CEO Conference next year in March. If you haven't yet booked your tickets, please do. And I'm going to share with you why you absolutely need to be in that room. But obviously, for those of you that have been following the journey, you're probably like, yes, girl, I already know about this. But like I said, now that the speakers chapter has pretty much closed, I wanted to share with you some of the shifts, some of the aha moments, some of the things that have come up throughout that process, because it really has just been such a beautiful learning experience. And this is the power of the collective mind, right? I started with one intention and one vision and one download that is actually years in the making. And yet once I started to get together with other incredible women that I had curated from my personal network, women that have been in my energy for years that I really respected, I know our values aligned, that understand the mission of and intention of the event. When we got together and started talking about how this could unfold and what needed to be shared and what was coming in for the collective and what was needed in this next wave of entrepreneurship, what we have then collaboratively created is something that literally takes my vision to the next level, and I cannot wait. So as I said, the purpose of this podcast is to always share the behind the scenes, the lessons, as well as the inspiring stories of, people that I cross paths with as a business mentor who is a true embodiment of abundance. And I believe that. I believe there's lots of money mentors that I know and that I have worked with and invested in, and all they talk about is the money, right? Just how much money they've made. So therefore they're a money mentor. And yes, you need to have done a certain amount of work in order to be able to receive and hold larger and larger quantities of money. Absolutely, you cannot negate that. So for them in their season and their version of what a money mentor means, absolutely, they're embodied. But for me, being a money mentor is so much more than just how much money I've got in my bank account. It's about how much abundance are you living, how much overflow can you receive in all areas of life, and how embodied are you in your everyday life. So for me as a money mentor, being an abundance embodier, it means knowing that there is always more money to come, knowing that there is more money for everybody. There is more than enough for us to go around. So therefore, another woman's success does not trigger me. Sending clients to somebody else, if I believe that they'll be better served with that person, is an incredible act of service for me. It's not money out of my pocket. I have struggled to find money mentors that actually believe and are in integrity with that. Typically, it's how much money can they make and how quickly and how effortlessly can they make that money. So again, bringing this conference is kind of my extension of that, because there's a chance I might not even be speaking at my own conference, because it's not about me. It is about bringing together, like I said, a carefully created network of incredible women and wise women at that have value to share with the world that everybody needs to know about. And that for me will be my greatest achievement in this conference, is that genuinely, when I look at the lineup of women that are attending, they are all women that I would literally go to bat for. Women that I know are an embodiment of what they teach. They are abundant women. They are wealthy women in their generosity to their clients, in their mindset, in their values, and are essentially the kind of women that need to take us forward into this new wave of entrepreneurship. So if you are, and I know that, no tea, but there are a lot of people hosting large scale events right now who are not as discerning with who is taking up space on those stages. And I saw this recently with an event that was tailored towards conscious females, supposedly spiritual leaders who are essentially supporting women to make more money. When I looked at that lineup, I was so sad, because I just know through personal experience or through lived experiences via my clients that at least 3 of those women that are spotlighted on that stage, that are going to have the ear of these incredible women that are investing in their personal development, are absolute sharks. I have invested in their programs. They were absolutely rubbish. They are not women of integrity. They are very much fear-based, lack women who only are out for themselves, that don't treat their clients very well, that are behind the scenes an absolute bag of like neurosis and, is that word, neurotic, like women who are very much in their fear and their lack. They don't care about anybody else. As long as they're making money, they're good. And that makes me so sad that not only have they now got a spotlight to lead other women, but they are also being positioned as these wealthy embodied women when they are not. So whoever has hosted that event has literally just got the bag. That's all they're doing it for. They probably paid to play, i.e. paid to be in those positions. There's some kind of affiliate arrangement, because anybody who claims to be spiritual, intuitive, or like a divine feminine could read those women's energy a mile away. They would see for themselves, to be able to see through that BS and know that they are not the kind of women that I want to stand beside. Maybe they are also getting something, well, they are obviously getting something from that in having those, maybe they've got big audiences or whatever. And for me, basically, I think I've said before, I want to kind of take you back a little bit. With my original conference, which was last year, my intention was that was always going to be an annual event, because I've seen over the last 7 to 10 years that there is a need for a new type of leadership coming through, a new kind of mentorship that's coming through for female entrepreneurs that isn't what I had experienced or seen. All of these people that claim to be in abundance are just so full of lag. They gatekeep, they don't share the honest truth behind the scenes. They're not in integrity with what they teach. They're not in embodiment with what they teach, or they're teaching practices that simply aren't sustainable. And then women are left feeling broken, like they have not done what they're meant to do, like they're not good enough because they can't get the same results, when the reality is, and bear in mind, I've worked behind the scenes in some of these businesses. I've consulted, I've OBM'd, so I can say this hand on heart, or I've known these people in peer scenarios where they have had the honest conversation with me about what is going on behind their business, and they are not okay. Neither is their business, and neither are their clients, most importantly. And so therefore, when I thought about creating an event, I've been in business for over 10 years. I know that there are a lot easier ways than to make money than being a coach and a mentor and putting yourself out there every day online to be judged, to, being a coach will test you in ways that you didn't even know, because it's not about a product or a service or a something behind the scenes that you can hide behind. When I had brick and mortar businesses, that wasn't about me. That was about the product, the marketing, the positioning, the branding, all of those kind of things that didn't have any sense of, obviously it was me driving it, but it wasn't about me personally. When you become a personal brand and put yourself out there online, it's all about you. Every rejection feels personal, and anybody that tells you different, especially at the beginning stages, is lying. You can have the strongest mindset in the world, and I absolutely did coming into this space, but when you see other people that are less competent, that are less committed, that care less, seemingly doing better than you, that will start to make you question yourself. I don't care what anybody says, it will. I've always had the strongest mindset, and yet it definitely has been a journey for me, and just the next chapter of growth, so it's not a problem. So again, like for me, the conference events, having a separate business entity as that, and really expanding it, didn't come from a place of money making, because as I said, there are easier ways to make money, but it came from a place of this is needed. And actually, with my global events background, being a manifesting generator Gemini, I love the in person elements. I know the power of a conversation. I see the conference as an opportunity to almost revert back to tribal days where we as women would sit at the feet of the wise women who would impart their knowledge, who would open doors, who wouldn't gatekeep, who would impart their wisdom in ways that we could receive what we need to hear and leave what we don't, but essentially in a way to pay it forwards to other people that are coming up behind us. That is what I have assembled. Like the Avengers, I have assembled the most incredible collective of wise women that you can sit at the feet of, because this is a beautiful safe space community who are all in abundance and integrity and embodiment of what they teach, and just learn and just be poured into for a full 48 hours. And that for me was what I wanted to create. But when I came, the conference that I had last year was a very confronting experience for me. In the similar way, when I came into the online space, I didn't know how things were done around here. And I always like to assume the best. And, I went into it a bit naively, same in the online space. When I showed up, I didn't even have really a social media presence, didn't really know what I was doing. I only fell into coaching because I'd started to invest in my own coach, because I believe in the value of mentorship. I didn't come into this space as a get rich quick scheme, as a lot of people have, because that's how the industry has been marketed. And so I would just like pop into people's DMs being like, hey, hey, how are you? Just like really naively wanting to make friends, wanting to connect with other women that I thought were, on my wavelength, going through a similar journey. And what I was met with was a lot of egos, a lot of fear, a lot of sister wounded women that just weren't available to be friends with. And when I created the conference, again, went into it with good intentions. But by the time I got to hosting that event, I was 8 months pregnant. And my experience was two halves. On one half, the conference was beautiful because of the energy that I had attracted in terms of the women being there and some of the speakers. The feedback that I got was wonderful. It was like, this was such a beautiful safe space. So much business was done in a truly feminine way, where you just show up, serve, give value, and without needing to pitch or create urgency or scarcity or, manipulative sales tactics. People just naturally found their people that could help them in that next season. And that's what felt really great. So I had so much pride in that. But then on the flip side of that, I hadn't done enough I hadn't put up enough boundaries around the women that had access to that stage. And I had some really negative experiences, which I've talked about on previous podcasts. Don't want to go over it, but essentially I came away at 8 months pregnant feeling very hurt, very wounded, very attacked, very exhausted, very sad about some of the things and the ways that the women had conducted themselves at that event. Not only for me personally, but also as a woman. I just thought, well, this is why men win, because women will always revert to just kind of showing their ass, just kind of letting each other down. It was really sad. And it was only by exception, but that was my lingering impact. So when I came into this year, I thought about, do I even want to continue this? Is there actually a place in the world, in the coaching space, for somebody like me who wants to genuinely come from a place of heart-led service? Is there actually room? Will people want to buy into that? And what happened as the year unfolded, obviously we're only in like kind of September now, but as the year unfolded, I realized more and more that actually January was not it. And there was a big collective shift that was coming through. I think a lot of women have actually felt very jaded, very burnt out, very let down by their business, no longer feeling in alignment, no longer feeling lit up, no longer feeling excited about what they had, their intentions at the beginning of the year, because there needs to be this collective shift. And there needs to be an evolution of mentorship and service online. There is a rise very much needed. If you think about like the bigger, picture in terms of what's going on in the economy, in politics, cost of living, the world, like everything feels very broken right now, and it would be very easy to sit down and just think, well, everything's rubbish. It's, it's just harder and harder to kind of survive, let alone thrive in the world as it is now. And I believe, and I know definitely by tapping into my spiritual communities, that there is a collective shift coming, and the rise of, this next wave of humanity is going to be led by female entrepreneurs. The patriarchy is crumbling. The old traditional systems and structures are crumbling. Nothing is working as it used to work. So all of those coaches that are, the brain marketing tactics that are hiding behind funnels and automations and AI are going to start to fall away, let me tell you, because what the world is really craving right now is authentic, meaningful connections. The world is craving truth tellers to step forwards and rise up and actually have a platform to speak and to offer alternative views, to liberate and activate their audiences, to serve their clients in a way that they have never been served before. This is such an exciting time to be a woman in business. And I heard a really wise woman say to me once that the world will be healed by female entrepreneurs, because at our very core and at our very heart as entrepreneurs, we are solution seekers and providers. We are the ones that are making people's lives better, whether that be through an incredible, thoughtful product that we have poured our heart and soul into, or whether that is through genuinely like taking people by the hand and leading them through some form of transformation. We are making those people's lives better. So if you are in a point in your business right now where you're like, is there even any space for me right now? There are teenagers, growing these empires through automations and twin AIs, and, where it feels like the world is just getting further and further removed from each other, and you're getting lost in the noise of algorithms and content, faceless content and accounts. Is there a place for me anymore? Can I still make a sustainable income? Can I still make an impact that I want to? I am here to tell you absolutely yes, and you must, because there is this new wave of collective consciousness that is coming through that needs this rise of female leadership. And what does feminine female leadership look like? It looks like collaboration, meaningful connections, authenticity. It looks like fun. It looks like truth telling, storytelling, interesting, innovative, creative, like solutions, and in everything from how we market to how we sell to how we deliver and serve to our clients. Like, the world needs that right now. And that is why the conference is there, because every woman there is talking about sustainable business, soulful business, quality over quantity, of sales. It's talking about a higher standard of delivery for your clients. It's talking about soul aligned purpose and missions. It's talking about amplifying your own unique gifts through your human design and gene keys. None of that can be replicated by ChatGPT. Let me tell you, it's about leaning into, your soul's expression, but also wealth building, so that we can actually make an impact. We can rise up and start to earn incredible legacy based incomes that are going to change politics. It's going to, shape the employment landscape. We could add billions to the economy, ladies, if we actually gave ourselves permission to build sustainable businesses in our own unique way that enables us to not just survive, but actually build empires, build teams, pay it forwards, invest in community initiatives. I've got some incredible women coming for the conference that are going to talk about these things also. And I just can't wait, because if you have already felt that inner urge that something is not working, something needs to change, this is what's going to be the thing that needs to change. And you are probably light years ahead of the women around you, who are still just like, all I need is an email list. All I need is another funnel. Let me try and remove myself even more from my business and make money in my pants. Like, it's just not that it. That's not it. And I'm excited to be able to activate the women that are actually interesting, that have something to say, that even if they don't realize the innate gifts that are inside of them that need to be activated, that's what's going to happen. It has to happen, or your business will fall away. That's a reality. No one needs, we're living in an age of information where you could just literally chat GPT pretty much anything. The world doesn't need more information. It needs more integration and embodiment and leadership. Women who are out here changing shit up, who are shaking industries, defying odds, providing evidence of what is possible for women that are previously underrepresented. I'm a single mom with 6 kids. Like, I should not be making the income that I am. My trajectory from my childhood was to live a life sitting on benefits. I have completely defied the odds, and I have created a new version of success, even from the corporate version of me who just believed that it's like, oh, it's getting buying your own house, it's getting a particular status in my career. That isn't success to me anymore. But as the more that I rise, as a rising tide lifts all boats, I'm providing more and more inspiration to other women who don't fit the norm of what society tells them success looks like. And I couldn't be more fucking excited about that than teaching somebody else to build another 10K month business. Because that to me is just like, anybody could do that. Anybody could do that without showing their face. And yes, we need that. Obviously, we need an income. But there is a bigger opportunity on the table at the moment, ladies, to really impact this world and make it such a better place for us, for our communities, for our families, for our children, for the generations to come. And it starts with kind of answering the call and also being discerning with where we are investing our money currently. I could literally just like pull my hair out at the same coaches that I just see over and over again, making bigger and bigger and bigger amounts of money each month. Like, a previous mentor that I work with is now making like £2 million a month. Great. And here's the thing, I'm a money mentor. I'm so happy for her that she is making an incredible income. But what's she doing with that money? She's just buying bigger houses. She's just getting more audacious photo shoots. She's not paying it forwards to other women. And equally, I'm so happy for her. Like, here's the thing that actually came off a bit bitter. I'm not. I'm so happy for her. Good for her and her family and the women that are being supported by her. But are they being supported at the right level by the right person who has the proximity and the energy to hold for these women that are coming up? Or are those women coming into our programs being lost amongst the noise? Because at £2 million a month, either you're charging like insane prices for proximity, or you have a shed ton of people in your communities. And I've been in those communities in masterminds with like 40 to 50 women. That's not a mastermind. You're not seen, you're not heard, you're not held. You can't get your say, you can't get any sort of meaningful feedback. You are fighting with women who are in lack to get your voice heard. That is not being supported. That is not being mentored. That is not being like I say, seen or heard in any way. That is not going to support your growth. That is going to put you in a room where you are either made to feel less than, or you are at the top end and kind of, again, there's no room to grow. Like, there's no expansion in those containers when they are completely oversubscribed. And other coaches as well. And I'm like, why do people keep investing in these people? I don't understand it. Like, they must see for themselves. The math is not mathing. The reason they had £1 million launch is because they probably spent about 50K on ads, because they've got a massive sales team, because they have lead setters who spam people's DMs and Facebook groups, not because they are in your situation, that they're not single mums like doing it themselves. That they may have started at that point, but they weren't then creating £1 million launches at that month. They were just, they've acclimatized and grown from there. So to go into those programs believing that you can have their results by investing low ticket is really naive. And I think that is for us to start to be more discerning and understanding that where we choose to spend our money has power. I had this conversation recently with my daughter who's vegetarian, and she was saying that she doesn't really like the vegetarians, like, what's the word? The substitutes where you get like the fake bacon and the fake sausage. So I don't like any of that. I don't want it. Don't worry about buying it. And I was like, but the thing is, where I choose to spend my money has power. If you are fully intending to be a vegetarian for the rest of your life, we need more research in this industry. We need better products. We need better selections. We need companies to understand that consumers are willing to spend money on these things. So therefore we have to buy it, because it lets retailers know that there's a market. It starts to open up the marketplace for other providers that might bring something to the table that you actually do like as a substitute. But if at the very least, it will stop all of those farmers that are over farming cows and meat and all of the things, because they'll see that there's an opportunity over here to make money in something else. It means that we will invest in more renewable food sources, and that only comes from buying those things, even if you don't want them. So my message to you today, firstly, is to remember that you always have, where you choose to put your money has power. And if you continue to fund these high level coaches, to give them more and more millions in their pocket every month, you are really missing the opportunity for genuine, heartfelt connections and mentorship with women that are coming up in the industry. So I always think that I went off on a bit of a rant on my stories the other day, and I was saying this, like, I don't understand why these high ticket coaches are not creating space for the people that are coming up, because then you're not in a woman of abundance. If you are continuing to dominate the top tier market and also the bottom, like, you're just a woman who is just taking over everything, and you're a shark. For me, every time I increase my prices, every time I make my containers more intimate and therefore, increase prices, I know that I'm opening a door for somebody else who is coming up behind me, because I've created space, I've created a gap. If a woman wants to come and work with me and they're not yet ready to invest, then there's somebody else that can serve them with where they are right now. I'm okay to be aspirational or inspirational, and not everything that I do is accessible. And that's okay, because I'm a woman of abundance. I know that somebody else can serve them, and I'm happy to leave that money on the table, because I would rather that that person gets served with the proximity and with the care and attention that they need, knowing that I can make money anyway over here, and that I have kind of paid it forwards to that person. That feels better for me, because it's a win-win for me, knowing that I am living my values and embodiment of what I teach. It's a win-win for the new coach that's coming in, that's getting paid, that has confirmation that their gifts have value, and also for the client. I don't want to take people's money and not be able to deliver what they need in that moment. So that's also another kind of point for you, I guess, to consider, is like, where are you trying to do it too much from a place of fear rather than abundance? Where are you investing in places, believing that if you have proximity to a high level coach, you're going to get infamy or credibility with your clients? I saw somebody actually talk about this. I've got about this on LinkedIn, saying that she had her first 20K month. So the first thing that she did was reinvested in her coaches, at like almost 40K or something. And I was like, girl, the math is not mathing on that. But also there must be some weird codependency relationship. If you can't see for yourself that you were the one that did the work, you are the one that has created that success, and the first thing that you've done is take that success and credit it to everybody else. Because she's like, that I am a woman of, abundance because I am willing to invest high ticket in myself. And I'm like, no, you are a woman that has given your power away because you have over invested more than your results. You've given all of your credit to somebody else, and you don't trust yourself to take what you have learned and created to now go it alone, or at a lesser kind of proximity, so that you can actually enjoy some of that money. You have just completely funneled it back into that person. That to me, I don't know, just didn't kind of sit right. And it was almost like, and if you're not willing to invest at that level, then who the hell are you? You obviously aren't. That to me was like almost attacking, and it was just like interesting, like that whole dynamic. And yet lots of people were celebrating her. But I was just like, it's just weird, isn't it? Sometimes what goes on in the coaching space is interesting to me, as a psychology expert and all of the things. I'm like, interesting. But anywho, what I wanted to kind of leave you with today, and the whole purpose of this podcast episode, was essentially just kind of giving you an insight as to what I believe is coming in the new wave, so 2025, 2026, in terms of what will be required of us as female entrepreneurs, as coaches, as mentors, as service providers, if you want to remain competitive, if you want to continue to make a sustainable income, if you also want to, not have to sell your soul to do it, then it's all about this embodiment of female leadership principles. It's about answering the call and stepping up. It's about looking within rather than outside. It's about being discerning with where we want to spend our money and the legacy that we want to leave. It's about listening to the right kind of mentors and being in the right rooms, not to be seen, not to, have status with your audience, but to genuinely learn and be served and receive. Um, so hopefully, if this has sparked something in you and maybe just got you to question some of the things that are done around here, and you are looking for a safe space to explore that further, either come and join me at the conference, obviously like and subscribe to my podcast on my YouTube, or come and join me inside the First Generation Academy, because this is 12 months of continually being poured into, expanding into your next level, cultivating that discernment and that inner trust and intuition so that you will be unstoppable and unfuckable with. Not now, but every season of life that comes after. So thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. Make sure you share it with a business bestie, or let me know in your comments below. Maybe you don't agree with anything I've said, and I'm here for the debate. So let me know, and I hope you have an incredible rest of your day.